Some adversity came my way when I was publishing my most recent book, Mental Health Week. The individual I had hired for the book formatting also shared they can complete book covers. After ghosting me and losing a day of production, my original hire delivered an unacceptable product. I was scrambling to stay on my timeline, and after networking, I finally came across today's guest. I know that story may resonate with fellow entrepreneurs out there, you tuning in today, because usually when you run your own business, things do not go according to plan. Welcome to your favorite podcast, That Entrepreneur Show, where you get to hear firsthand testimonials of the roller coaster rides entrepreneurs take. You get to learn what worked well for my guests, what they needed to improve on, and most importantly, all of the learning lessons in between. My name is Vincent A. Lancey, and I am your host. I interview a different founder from a company or brand from around the globe each week, and you can learn more about me at Vincent A. Lancey on all social media or my website, vincentalancy.com. Before I bring on today's amazing guest who saved the day for Mental Health Week, let's find out how Jeff podcasts. Jeff, which platform do you stream your shows through?
Mostly iTunes, some YouTube.
I'm an Apple guy too. Where do you typically listen to your podcasts?
I'm usually at home at work, working in my office.
In your office. So does that mean you're through the headphones, listening to the computer?
Right. Usually through headphones. I'm not usually a speakers guy. I like to be quiet over in my corner and not bother the people around me.
I like the headphones as well. It helps me focus. And with that, I would like to share with everyone listening on. I want to hear how you podcast. DM me or email info@vincentalancy.com, and I'll feature you on the show. And whether you're looking to start or scale your business or idea, this is going to be the show for you. And you never know which motivational journey is going to inspire you most. Today's guest is a full-time entrepreneur, and from my intro, you probably guessed, artist. At a younger age, he, like many people, didn't know what to do with his life and fell into dead-end jobs and alcoholism. Jeff decided to make a change back in 2012, and he stopped drinking alcohol ever since, where he's also gone back to school and earned a Bachelor of Film and Master's in Game Arts from the Entertainment Arts and Engineering Lab at the University of Utah. He makes art that solves problems for others. That's how he puts it, and it certainly applies to me. He has since now been making a name for himself in the indie game and character illustration scene. You know, he's the guy who made my cover, so he's got a big journey to share. Let me now bring him on, Jeff Jackman. Jeff, thank you for joining me.
Hey, thanks, Vincent. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, would you mind giving our audience a preview to your journey before we dive into the business side?
Well, I had to think about where to start on that, and I'm thinking really quick that age 6, it was either hockey or pencils in an arts class. So I picked the art class, although I wanted both badly. Anyway, went with art for a long time, drawing in classes when I shouldn't be, that kind of thing. I dabbled with graffiti after that, and then after a long time after high school, realized I had to make some changes and got back into school and found where I needed to be and opening a lot of new doors. So
you mentioned that you've been dabbling in art forever. You knew it's something you wanted to do. When did you have that passion turn into an entrepreneurial journey, try to monetize this passion?
Yeah, I was out there not monetizing my passion, and I was working cashier jobs and serving tables, and I was watching my 30s approach and saying, oh my gosh, what are you going to do? Like, I know I have a gift of art and that I should be using it. And it was just crushing me. So, that's where it all led to the big decision.
Like many people, they want to chase something, but they're still caught up in their day-to-day. They still have to get by each and every day. It's tough to finally make that leap. What was your final position before this?
It was a long transition of keeping with those kinds of jobs and getting into college, making the choice to get back into college. So, and then finding the way to get into art jobs during that time.
finding jobs is always difficult. Networking is a constant thing for me. And somehow I ended up with him today, Tampa to Utah, making a connection. But since you've been on your own, Jeff, what are the hardest parts of being an entrepreneur for you?
Right now, it's really my first solid year as an entrepreneur and calling myself my own company. And I'm still facing the tax season coming up. So I'm saying like that is definitely one of my biggest problems that I'm facing. The other thing is, well, it's just a smaller art kind of thing, but just learning how to spot red flags on projects and things. So,
What do you mean by that, red flags?
uh, someone that will come to me and ask for a project, and then suddenly it becomes 10 more items, and then they hold your reputation over your head until you do those things when it's just not fair, you know? So you have to find the right clients, and I'm definitely finding the right ones. But the first few months was really rough, and getting stiffed on bills and things, learning how to get cash up front and payment on finalized version. I don't usually send the final copies until they've approved it and they like it. Yeah, but yeah, just a lot of learning right now.
So you would get hired, for example, a book cover like me, but they'd also expect you to do the formatting
The
and
full layout, that might be one.
yeah, I understand that. But you mentioned it, you consider yourself just an entrepreneur for your first year. I don't agree with you because of how long you've been on your passion journey. You've been creating art for a while. We found out when you first started doing art. We know where you are now. What would you say your favorite type of art to produce is? Where did you find your most success come out of?
uh, okay, it kind of branched from when I was like 10, 12 years old, whatever, drawing characters of family members. And so that's really been the thing that's stuck with me. And as I got into school, I kept drawing classmates and it translated to college. Even though I was drawing all kinds of things, it always fell back to characterizing people. And I'm really building my business around that right now.
Absolutely. Well, throughout your journey, Jeff, what would you say one of your greatest failures or lessons learned is, and what did it teach you?
The Something I've learned is you have to believe in yourself. And so, like, I think back to one of my biggest fails was being in a hot seat and having a boss upset with something. And uh, I didn't have enough self confidence at the time uh, and knowledge on what I was doing to be able to combat what it was he was upset with. And now that I've gone through this entrepreneurial journey, this specifically this last year, I've just been so focused that I know if I went back and spoke with that person again, that I would just blow them out of the water. But yeah, just being confident in who you are and what you can bring, and knowing when you've absorbed enough knowledge of what it is you're chasing. Like you can sit and listen to that all day, and it will drown out what you're naturally gonna do if you're not focused enough. So
Well,
I don't know.
I like what
That
you said
answers.
there. Confidence is everything, and unfortunately, it is something that everybody struggles with one way or another. It's just in a different way than someone else. What was something that really helped you gain that confidence? What's something that really worked well for you?
Uh, Believing in myself and pushing myself. It's really I've in this pandemic we've been going through, and we're kind of at the end of it now. I've been forced into this corner where I've had not much coaching. You know, I've got a ton of learning up to this point, and I've had some coaches in my life and mentors that led me. And now I've just had to take those learnings with and just believe in it and move forward. So yeah,
Mentors and coaches are everything. I agree with you. They
I
play
still
such a
want them. I still am looking for
the
one.
CEO of Google has a coach. All of these high level executives, they have coaches too, because in life you can't do it on your own as much as you
No
want
way.
to. You just can't. Even for me, I'm a solopreneur. That doesn't mean I'm good at everything. Like all the things I'm just maintaining, I'm happy to delegate when finances do come my way again. I've had my trouble with interns, but I am opening up the search again because I don't want to let bad experiences in the past dictate a potential good fit for me,
Mhm.
like social media, things like that, art related. I know that as much as I would like to create the best possible product, I'm not the best. So I outsourced my cover with Jeff, for example. You need to know your strengths and leverage those strengths. Find someone to help you with your weaknesses and turn them into strengths. But again, mentors, coaches, get one if you can. But if you could learn from someone besides a coach or mentor, Jeff, any entrepreneur, dead or alive, who would you choose?
I went right to Gary Vayner. I'd love to just get about 5 minutes to talk about my journey with him and see what he'd say.
You're going to have to delve deeper than that because that is a popular choice. Let's hear why.
Oh, he just amazes me. I relate to him in a lot of ways. I can't give you a really grand answer here other than that man is just he's energy, and I want what he's got. So
One of his goals is to buy the New York Jets. So I'm obviously a fan in that way. But I'm going to delve just even deeper here. Where would this meeting go down if you had the chance to pick a spot?
Somewhere outside on a rooftop or in a park.
That's cool. Like that. Today's guest is from out west, big outdoors guy. I'm assuming here in Florida, it's a bit hot most of the year right now. We're in our storm season, our summer, where it's just nasty out pretty much all day, except the early hours. But we don't get snow, so that's our trade-off.
It gets a little chilly in the morning out here, so
I bet it does.
Even in the summertime, out by this lake, I'm up north, right by the Great Salt Lake, actually, near the border of Idaho.
But what's a typical summer day there in July, temperature-wise?
It's kind of weird right now. It's just fluctuating all over the place. So it's super windy one day and dead the other, and it's been pretty consistent and humid and hot in July, but
interesting.
Oddly cool this year. So
yeah, global warming is very interesting. I don't have much knowledge on it, so I don't ever speak about it, but it's evident that something's going on out there. But that is the future for the world. Let's look into your future here. What's going on with your entrepreneurial endeavors? What's on the horizon?
Right now, it's keeping that momentum. What's going on with me is I'm finding places like Upwork to find clients, and I'm trying to stay ahead of how much I can do at once, so that when I get done with one thing, I'm not dying for the next thing. And I'm finding a good stream of hourly and project-based work right now. And I'm just trying to build, and get word of mouth out that I'm great to work with and produce great work, good turnarounds, all that.
I had a great experience with him. Obviously, it has progressed into inviting him to join the show. I heard his grit, his work ethic, and his passion about his craft. So those lessons can translate to anyone. And now we're going to have his take on the Spotlight story. If it's your first show with us, I share the journey of another entrepreneur to inspire you from another lens. And as we have an artist entrepreneur on the show this week, we will add the story of another in Salvador Dali. Many of you have heard the name, but I'm going to introduce a great bit of the story to you. The incredible artistic mind of Dali knew no limits, as evidenced from his illustrated cookbook to his logo design for Chupa Chups. But the story I chose him for is Alice in Wonderland. We all know that. And this visionary saw the connection, and he created 12 heliogravers for the occasion, one illustration for each chapter, as well as 4 color etchings as the frontispiece. 2,700 of the edition were printed, and the artist signed each original etching. Of course, these copies were rare, and they still are. Prices skyrocketed, but luckily, Dali lovers can rejoice in knowing that the Princeton University Press reissued an affordable copy. Those with a keen eye will immediately pick out some of his signature woven with the illustrations. The girl jumping rope in the frontispiece comes from the landscape with girl skipping rope and the iconic melting clock from the persistence of memory. Find a nice home at the center of the Mad Hatter's Tea Party. The incredible example of cultural cross-pollination is enhanced with essays by mathematician and Dali collaborator Thomas Banshoff and Mark Burstein, the president of the Lewis Carroll Society of North America. And that's just a networking tool back in the day before Google and social media. These guys are coming together. And it was in 1969 that he created these illustrations for the Alice in Adventures in Wonderland. Jeff, what do you like best about Dali?
I thought he was when I was young, I thought he was an odd version of Disney. I thought he was this weird guy. I thought he's the guy with that pointed up mustache. I just don't know what he looks like. That's how the best description. He had a psychedelic kind of style. I wasn't, it was interesting. It looked like he'd spent hours on paintings. So I studied him briefly, and he's an odd fellow. That's what I've gleaned from Dally, but very inspirational artist for the rest of us.
He definitely did things outside the box. I think that's maybe what helps him stood out. A little odd, but in this world, we have to do that, which is something you found a way to do, Jeff. Continue to thrive. And I want to thank you so much for coming on the show with that. I really enjoyed how you shared with everyone in the moment of inspiration. Things didn't work out. You shifted. You're believing in yourself. You found the confidence. And now you're doing freelance projects with a consistent stream of revenue and the ability to get these good feedbacks to help you grow. For everyone listening on out there, feedback is key. If you buy someone's product or service, help them out. If you like it, give them a review because it does go an incredibly long way. So thank you for that. You shared how you overcame a lot of adversity. And Gary V, I love the choice there. We're going to head up now to your last word.
The last word is I just want to let you guys, if I've said anything, you've heard that I've had a tough journey and that I got in trouble with alcohol. The main point here is to just find what it is you're passionate in life of and stick to it, and find those that'll help you with that and get away from those that won't. I mean, you hear these things. It's a pretty simple formula, just, there's something you love, stick with it. It will shine through. And there's ways to help with alcoholism if you're having a hard time with that too. But
thank you for sharing that. It sounds cliche, but you need to surround yourself with people who care about you and they're not just telling you what you want to hear, things you need to hear, help you grow. We have to evolve as humans or we're losing ground. I would like to now just share, Jeff, how can people check out your work? How can they hire you?
Oh, right. You can come over to jeffjackmanart.com and that'll have everything you need to find me on.
Great, Jeff. Well, thank you again for your time and thank you for coming back to network with me through another forum, this time through a podcast. I appreciate you sharing your story. And to everyone out there, thank you for tuning in to another show. While you're checking out his website, check us out too, vincentalancy.com, at Vincent A. Lancy. You can get everything from there. This show is at That Entrepreneur Show on all platforms besides Twitter. We're at Podcast by Lancy, so you get updates from all 4 shows. It's time for the quote to end the show. This one's from Dolly, and it's very simple. Have no fear of perfection. You'll never reach it. Thank you for listening, and I'll see you next week on That Entrepreneur Show.